into some other world. गृहीत्व गृहीत्वेत्वानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाश्यत. Krishna says that the soul carries the tendencies of the mind as the wind carries a scent. This was the scent of the soul, the supreme soul. My eyes half opened, as they would be a lot of the time. I felt the walls of my hut, the roof, the cold fire pit in front of me melt away, as if everything was made of sand, and with each passing moment the grains flew away into the universe. Everything was crumbling faster than I could make sense of it. Meanwhile, the fragrance did my head in. I was as if in a valley of flowers, only that there was no valley nor flowers. Throughout my travels over the last 13 years, I must have whiffed a few hundred perfumes, hoping that perhaps something might come close, but I have not been able to find that scent. How dearly I wish there was a way for the words to magically spill that fragrance on these pages, so you could be transported to the same world as I had been. Suddenly and completely unexpectedly, I felt a warm touch on my wrist, startling me a bit. Just startled, not scared primarily. Otherwise, I was happy to die. I looked at my wrist. A slender hand had grabbed it. I must be hallucinating. I stopped chanting. You should not be here, a male voice said. I looked up. It felt like I was staring directly at the sun through a lens. Blinded by the bright light, I closed my eyes as a natural reflex. I cannot see anything, I blubbered, trying to squint. The light was too bright, and I squeezed my eyes closed again, not so much consciously as naturally. Breaking my meditative posture, I impromptu covered my eyes with my left arm. Who are you? I asked. Not here, the voice said. First, my people will eat. First, my people will eat. These were the exact words. I can never forget them. I was pulled by my wrist with much force and speed. Even though my eyes were closed and covered with my arm, I could feel that I was traveling at an insane speed through millions of glaring lights. Then it went dark again. The same quietude engulfed, the same heady fragrance returned. I wanted to open my eyes and see, but it was like my eyes were frozen and I could not even blink. Forget about opening them. I stayed seated but put my hands back in the meditative posture on my lap. It's as if nothing had happened at all. Within moments, gentle music from strange instruments began playing. This was different from the music I had heard on numerous occasions earlier. Open your eyes, the male voice said. When I did, the first thing I noticed was that the fire pit and the Sri Yantra in front of me were gone. I was alarmed. I looked to my left and right, and I could not see the walls of my dilapidated hut. I looked down, and my asana was no longer there. I sat cross legged on a cushiony and comfortable seat, which in turn was resting on a rug that had been woven most intricately, of which I have no vivid memory at present. I pinched myself to wake up. It did not help. Here, my soul, here, the voice whispered, look here. I looked up straight, and it was a huge hall with a high ceiling and many pillars. Before I could marvel at the beauty and any further, the voice whispered again. To your right, it said. As I did, I glanced at a pillar carved from gleaming marble, adorned with intricate motifs of lotus flowers and other symbols, most of which I did not recognize at the time, nor can I recall them now. The most striking thing was that the pillars had jharokhas, carved windows, through which light could pass easily. Light was emitting through the pillar currently, but it was no longer a blinding light, as it had been just a wee bit ago. I tried to look through the pillar to see who, if anyone, was behind it, to spot the source of the voice, but I found no one. Just then I saw a crown and a face peeking at me from the pillar. I immediately got up without thinking. Indeed, even if you want, you can't think in such moments. The conscious mind, the thinking brain is just not there. Love may not be blind, but it certainly is thought proof. It is beyond reason. The mellifluous laughter emerged as I got close to the pillar. Every cell in my body vibrated as if I was a sitar and an expert musician was plucking away at it with wild abandon. My heart knew that I had hit the jackpot, but in the absence of a conscious mind, it was hard to ascertain anything. Just when I was anxiously going around the pillar to catch the one speaking to me, I felt a familiar touch on my wrist, from the hand that sported rings to the wrist that bore a stunning bracelet. My gaze went to an armband. The barely covered shoulder, jet black curly hair flowing down the nape, and magnificent crown on the head. I admired the crown momentarily, which was adorned with multiple stones studded in a neat vertical row. Before I looked down at the radiant forehead and then the eyes, those eyes. My tears would not stop. I did not want to cry as it made my vision hazy, but it was hard to hold back. I peered into his eyes that shone with both mischief and love. I saw those cheeks, the small sharp nose, the upper lip perfectly arched like a bow, and the lower lip that rested like a tender rose petal. The lips widened as he smiled, and ah, that chin! His visage exuded gentleness and strength in equal measure. I was sobbing my heart out, and not just out of love or joy. I was wailing, I was howling, tears, snot, and all. He wiped my face with the hem of his flowing uttariya, a stole gently like a mother. First, you must eat, he said, and formed his grip on my wrist to direct me to another place. No, 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 I said. I must look at you first. The damn tears would not stop. They were clouding my sight. I wanted to blow my nose and wipe my face, but I had no tissues or handkerchief. I did not feel bad or self conscious, maybe because there was no conscious mind, I suspect. I broke free from his grip and moved back a step to behold the glorious home that was standing right before me in its entirety. Had I not done that, I would not be able to write the details that I have done today. He lifted his eyebrows ever so slightly to perfect arches and smiled. On his bare upper body rested a stole and a garland. There were no other ornaments as I had read in various scriptures. His forehead did not sport the standard Namam, the Vaishnavite tilak, as shown worldwide, or an Urdhva Tripund, two vertical lines with a mark in the middle. Instead, it bore two marks like the ones on my forehead, a round sandalwood one at the top and a vermilion one on the glabella. I did not know what to make of it. Besides, I was in no position to make anything of anything. His countenance was simply extraordinary, a symphony of divine perfection and utmost beauty. Indeed, if perfection had a form, I beheld right in front of me. The garland around his neck was not made from fat and full flowers that were tightly knotted. It was a light, simple garland of rather tender looking bluish flowers, each one with a few petals only. It felt as if they would wilt or fall off if I touched them. They looked at once exotic against his broad and dusky chest. I had never read about a scene or seen a picture or seen a picture of Lord Vishnu wearing red, it would always be colors like yellow or blue, but there he was, the Chakradhari Mahavishnu, sporting a waist length red stole and a red dhoti. His waist was encircled by a golden sash, and on it was another kamarband made of sapphire like gemstones. Though I am not sure precisely what stones they were, the most beautiful were his feet. I felt the urge to fall to the ground and grab them with the intention of never letting go. That very moment, he held my waist again and led me to a different room. I have no recollection whether I walked a few steps or more, but uh, before I knew it, I was right there in a smaller room with a plate full of a variety of food items. If this was not too much already, he fed me with his own slender hands. Delicacy is inexplicable and unknown to humankind, and all I could do was cry. This is what I might have expected from the Divine Mother, the feminine principle, Prakriti, Mother Nature, but here he was feeding me. In a few bites, my tummy felt full. There was no desire to ask him anything or to hold any conversation. यावान यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः संप्लुतोदके तावान सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्रह्मणस्य विजानतः. Whatever you get from many small ponds, a bigger lake can serve that purpose just as well. Similarly, the one who understands the reality of the one is no longer curious about the worldly ones. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 2.46. Those who know me know that even today I rarely ever hold conversations when eating. Each meal is a divine yajna for me. Every time I am drawn back to the moments when he fed me, which I may add were most fortunate and desirable. Whatever be my state of consciousness at the time, I did not want to cause any ripples. I just wanted to be. And it was not lost on me that I had been utterly unprepared when the form of the Divine Mother had manifested before me a few months earlier. And truth be told, I was just as unprepared now. But but is it